Okay, so our course is Unshakable Habits. It's a 5-week online course, which takes the 5 Thursdays in March. And you already know me, but for those who don't, I'm a yoga therapist and a healthy aging coach. I also speak for different groups. So if you have any interest in those services, let me know and I'll send you a speaker sheet. So why are habits important? I thought starting out with a definition would be helpful. And you can read that yourself. Basically, a routine practice that's performed regularly and it becomes automatic. Think what it might be like without habits. If we had to think about everything we do, it would definitely be an obstacle course. But when we install a positive habit, we can make our life better. And habits are needed to solve problems, also to avoid problems. If you don't have that habit of fastening your seatbelt, you're putting yourself at greater risk in case of an accident. You're also going to get a higher ticket if you're caught speeding and the officer finds out that you're not wearing your seatbelt. And a successful habit creation and or elimination requires a systematic approach. So that word systematic is important because we tend to blame ourselves if we try to do something and it doesn't work. Most of the time, it's not us. It's the system that we're using. And habits, or any kind of repetitive activity, develop fluency. They can develop speed, skill, and automaticity. They can also tend toward complacency. When you become good at something beyond a beginner level, you sometimes don't think or maintain presence with whatever that is. It's not that you're necessarily sloppy, but good is good enough. So you're not necessarily being your best or doing your best. And sometimes accidents can result or other effects that you're not wanting to have happen. Habits can also become really ingrained. And as a circumstance changes, that habit maybe no longer serves you, but you're stuck with it. It's there. It's hard to get rid of. Habits require us to establish a system for reflection and review to determine if a habit needs an update, an adjustment, or maybe a total replacement. And here's the thing, we become our habits. Our identity and our livelihood is determined by our habits. And when you think about it, someone's behavior is how you often judge them. And that behavior is a habit more times than not. And we habitually indulge in unhealthy behaviors. That could be how and what we eat, what we drink, how much we drink, maybe too much tech time, poor posture, too little sleep. And especially during COVID, many people fell into a more sedentary lifestyle, or they were moving too little. And if you look at this gentleman here on that bottom square, he is probably ruminating over something, and that becomes a habit. it becomes a downward spiral. So we do know the facts. We already know what's good for us. We know what isn't. So why is it so hard to change our behavior? Why can't we just do more of what's good and less of what isn't? And there's a heck of a lot of research. I have a book list within the course itself. I think there's 12 or 15 books on habits, many of which are about the research on habits. But we've learned from research. And once we learn how habits work, we can apply that. And that's my goal within this course, to give you some tools for cultivating healthy habits so that you can grow into a better or best version of yourself. And that would be not just now, but for the rest of your life. Because if you learn the system, it will not be as difficult going forward. And I put the word arete in there, which is a Greek word, and it means to be one's best. And it's not just now and then, it's being your best every day, even when you don't feel like it. And you look at our friend Sheila, who showed up, even though she doesn't feel well. She is in arete. She is being her best self, showing up. And so here's the main question. Are you wanting to improve your life? And if so, join us to develop the unshakable habits that stick. If you do this with a coach and a community, it's not only more fun, but more likely to stick because you have built-in accountability. There will be homework involved in this course, not more than probably 20 minutes a week, maybe even less than that. But this is a course that's going to be determined by the effort you put in. And it's not just a one and out. Even after the course is completed, I'll probably be sending you a few follow-ups in the way of email or phone calls to check on how this is going, the new habit you chose to install, and the undesirable habit that you chose to eliminate. Because these are not always easy. So again, we meet 5 Thursdays in March. That's going to be the 2nd, the 9th, the 16th, the 23rd, and the 30th, from 3 till 4:15 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Now, here's the caveat to that. If you have questions beyond that time, I will stay. So this could go 3 till 4:30. And should you miss a class, the recorded class will automatically be sent to everyone registered. There will be some people who never attend a class because of conflict at that time on Thursdays, and that's okay. They'll still be a part of us, and I will still be communicating directly with them. So this is the link to register. You can copy and paste that. We're also going to put this link in our follow-up email to thank you for being here today and to give you the ability to register right away. So before we go into the Q&A, I'm going to read what Kathy Bender permitted me to share with you today. And she said, I'm unable to attend our Zoom about unshakable habits, but I'm really excited for the homework and to watch the recorded class. She had missed one class, shared with me via email. The first class was great, and I'm enjoying my new tiny habit. I've plugged it into my morning schedule right after drinking my water, then coffee, then restroom. I do a 1-minute plank. So she's working on strengthening her core. Then I'm off for my daily walk. It is working out very nicely. I'm tracking my new habit in my planner using a symbol of a capital P, as in Peter, in a square each day after performing the exercise. This also works as a sort of reward, as it brings me a feeling of accomplishment. I love the class. You are a very good instructor. Sorry again, I had to miss one. So I'm going to stop sharing and see if you have any questions and answers that we can throw around. Or not.
So I have a question for you.
Okay.
What if you don't want to instill a new habit, but you just want to eliminate one? Can this work for that?
Absolutely. The process is best learned by installing a habit because it's easier to do.
Right.
We want to start with what's easiest. So it could be any habit at all, drinking more water, or brushing my cat once a day. It could be one little habit that takes you through the process and establishes a system. Then we tackle the more difficult part. When we tackle something, we first have to break it down into its basic elements. And we have to make sure that what we're working on is the tiniest part. And once we get that first part successfully established, the next follows almost seamlessly. And we use techniques like habit stacking or pairing and triggers. So all of these things are in each of the weeks. And all of these are part of your system that you choose to make this work. And generally speaking, it is the system, not the person. If something isn't working in my generation, we tended to just take the blame. You know, I must not be doing this right, blah, 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 blah. But if you establish the system to support your progress, we tend to make that constant, steady progress. And here's the thing. There's a 1% rule. James Clear talks about this in his book, which is called Atomic Habits. If you can get 1% better each day for the first year that you're establishing whatever this is, at the end of that calendar year, or 365 days from when you start, you will be 37% better. At the end of the next year, if you keep at this, you're going to be 144% better. And it goes on and on and on. And it's aggregated compounding, much like we used to have compounding interest on our savings accounts. Well, those days aren't maybe gone for now, but so establishing something small, but doing it over time makes the huge difference. And I can speak for my own self. Years and years ago, I think I was 54, maybe, when I started using my Maha Narayan oil on my knees, which were always painful. They were always a problem. Every night I'd come home and put ice packs on my knees. They no longer bother me. My knees are better now, 20 years later, than they were then. But I made a habit and I've stayed with it. And that's the problem some of us have with anything we do. We start to get so much better that we pull away from what that habit was. And it can be with the foods we eat, the diet we follow. And so instead of getting that 1% better, we're beginning to get 1% worse. It works both directions. So my idea is, if you can reflect and review the habits to see what's really serving you, and then make a wise decision about what you want for your future. This is a great opportunity. We're only, enrolling is $47.50 for 5 weeks with one-on-one coaching from me. So it's a bargain basement price, but I'm really passionate about this because it's made a huge difference for me. And here's another thing. I've been considering a new training for me. And this is a big commitment. It's a 2-year commitment. And I've been thinking about this for a few years. And I came across this quote from Karen Lamb, Lamb. A year from now, you may wish you had started today. And that's so true of so many things. And then who is it? James, can't think of his last name. He's a philosopher. And lots of other people have said this same quote, but I think even the hospice nurses are saying this. When you're on your deathbed and you're looking back, you're not regretting the things you did. You're regretting the things you didn't do, the opportunities you passed up. And so I take those kinds of things to heart. And that's when I made my decision about jumping into this long-term training, because I want that for the last chapters of my life. I want that additional new growth, and I want to be better for my people and myself and my family. So I'll be developing lots of new habits, but I think they're going to take me in a positive direction, because I want to enjoy the rest of the years of my life, not have to depend on ice packs and drugs and other things. And too bad, as we get older, that becomes very challenging. That's when a meditation practice serves us well, and all of our good habits that take us out into nature and other things. Okay, I'm going to zip it shut and wait for some of you to say something. Thanks, though, for that comment. Any other questions, thoughts, concerns? And if there's anything you want to ask me and you're uncomfortable doing it online, since we are recording this, shoot me an email or a text, or just give me a phone call and we'll talk about it. Okay? So that's it. We're closing in on almost 30 minutes. I appreciate the 2 of you being here physically, and others who will be listening to the recording. Thank you again. Bye now.
Bye.